And so the 70s were just a terrible, terrible, terrible time. And they also took away the Special Powers Act, but they replaced it with the Prevention of Violence Act. And it was the same thing. And what they did, in overreacting, they would just pull Catholic kids off the street, even if they have no connection with the IRA. And they could hold them for a week without any kind of indictment, without any kind of a charge. And they would give them what they called the 5 ways of interrogation. In the middle 1970s, the European court, the only time this has ever happened, condemned the British for these 5 methods of interrogation as torture, usually reserved to Russia or to real wild Belgian, Congo, African kinds of countries. And the British were condemned. And they said, you can't condemn us because we're the civilized British. But what they would do, they'd pull you off the street because you're in a Catholic neighborhood. Your mother wouldn't know, your dad wouldn't know where you are. They'd throw you in a jail. And then he would say, we know you're part of the IRA. I want you to name your cell. I want you to, I want you to tell. You don't even know anything. And so they would put you in a cell up against a wall, totally naked, spread eagle, good cop, bad cop. One guy would just, beat you with his baton. Just when you're about ready to give out, they'd hit you on the legs and knock your feet out from under you. Then a good guy would come in and say, all right, are you okay? I'm sorry about that. That guy gets a little, they'd play that on you. They would play loud music for the whole week and they wouldn't let you sleep. You would get maybe a little bread and some water. They wouldn't let you go to the bathroom.
Isn't that like a form of brainwashing?
They want you to break. Yeah, is what they're trying to do. And then in extreme cases, what they would do, put a hood on you, take you out, and they'd have a helicopter out in the courtyard. They'd put you on the helicopter, and they'd say, we're going to go up, and if you don't tell us what your IRA cell is and give us names, we're going to drop you out of the helicopter. And they'd go about 5 feet off the ground. And say, talk. You wouldn't talk. It'd be hooded. They'd beat you a while, and they'd throw you out. Now, you'd only go 5 feet. And you probably would poop in your pants, too. And a lot of guys who went through this never recovered. They weren't brainwashed. They went gaga. But can you see what that does to the level of resistance? And the IRA are called terrorists. What you got here is state-sponsored terrorism. They also, in order to get more convictions, formed what they call the dip block courts. The rules of the law to get convictions against these guys were just too complicated. And so they formed a dip block court, and all you need in a dip block court is one person to say, yes, he had a gun in his car, yes, I saw him running from this arson, and it could be a policeman or anybody they would pay off, and you were in jail.
Like Salem witch trial, like if you get someone a name that you were a witch, they burn you for it.
That's right, yeah. And so this totally took away any civil rights. But it increased the conviction rate dramatically, which is what they wanted. Just like when we were bombing Hanoi, and we thought that it would break their will, just like when London was being bombed by the Nazis, what did it do to the Londoners? It made them stronger. Same thing here. Persecuted people, and you make them stronger. And that's exactly what happened here. Actually, in 1974, they called a temporary truce, and the young Jerry Adams and Martin McGuinness were taken out of prison, and they tried to broker a deal. Paisley went nuts. And they blew up a power station and tried to blame the IRA, but even the British had to say, no, it was done by the Protestant paramilitaries. Then they wouldn't work, and they just froze the whole country until they said no peace negotiations. And that strong unionist state of mind, no surrender, do not give in, don't give them an inch, which is still going on today, and why the peace process is so mucked up at the present time, was, oh gosh, I mean, it was so strong.